All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Off-Szn Hoops off-season preview. Today, we are going to be talking about the Utah Jazz. Now, to jump right into it, the Utah Jazz traded for John Collins with a 2026 second rounder and Rudy Gay. Yeah, that was it. Utah did it. Utah was the first team, I'm assuming, that called, because if they weren't and other teams called and offered similar offers, you fucking know. Goddamn. You fucking know Danny Ainge out here got some kind of deal. He's got some kind of deal going on, but you did that. So now your front court is fucking set because you also in the draft drafted Taylor Hendricks, probably my favorite forward in general out of this draft, and I'm not counting wings as forwards, if that makes any sense. So I'm leaving out like the Thompson twins in that conversation. But Taylor Hendricks, one of my favorite players out of this draft, because of what he does on the defensive end. I am very happy to see him land next to Walker Kessler and Lauri Markkanen. I'm a little disappointed that they traded for John Collins, so now there's going to be this huge logjam at the 4 position, but it is what it is. You also drafted Keontae George, another really solid guy. Taylor Hendricks out of UCF and Keontae George out of Baylor. Just really solid scorer, and Keontae George, really good self-creator. And you also got Bryce Sensabaugh. 3 really solid fucking draft picks. The 2 first ones I like more than the third. Bryce Sensabaugh out of Ohio State is solid. He's a good scorer. I think he'll end up being mostly off ball, a off catch shooter, but we'll see. He had some creation going on at Ohio. You also extended Jordan Clarkson on a 2-year, $28.3 million contract. Pretty solid. I'm assuming elsewhere he might have gotten less, but it is what it is. Hometown. But at this point, basically. But then you also signed Omer Yurtseven, 2-year, $5.4 million, 2024, 2025 being non-guaranteed. This is, a good kind of prove it type of deal. You also traded for Damian Jones, which to be determined what was in that trade package, but that's a solid backup front court rotation to have behind Walker Kessler. And speaking of, let's get into lineups. You've got at the starting point guard, Ochai. At the shooting guard, you've got Jordan Clarkson. At the small forward, you've got Lauri Markkanen. Power forward, John Collins. Center, Walker Kessler. This projects to be a really good, fun lineup. Obviously, a lot of the scoring load is going to be on Jordan Clarkson, Markkanen, and John Collins, with a lot of the creation being kind of stuck on Clarkson and Markkanen, and Ochai kind of being left to pick up the scraps and run, P&R and stuff like that as much as he can. But with Sexton off the bench, hopefully that will bring some extra scoring. Taylor Horton-Tucker and Keontae George, also hopefully bringing another level of ball handling and creation. You've got Simone Fontecchino or whatever his name is. The Utah Jazz host Rudy Gobert, and Donovan Mitchell is headed in a rebuilding direction. And with all these first round picks that they have and their new draft picks and Keontae George and Taylor Hendricks, with Lauri Markkanen, John Collins, and Walker Kessler, is a really good launching point. Better launching point than most rebuilding teams get. So with that core of, Markkanen, Hendricks, and Kessler, with Collins as a secondary and Ochai as a secondary piece to that, you're solid. You're fucking solid. Next 2-3 years with the draft picks you've got and the draft classes coming in 25 and 26, you're fucking solid. As long as you can land, a Cameron Boozer type, which I don't even know how that would fit into this team. You go out there and you land one of these next top draft picks in the next 3 years minus next year, because we're hearing that it's going to be relatively weak on the top. You end up with a really good rebuild team, and that, hats off to Utah for making such a quick transition and turning it around so fast. I don't have that much else to say. I don't know. Utah should be a fun team to watch with, Taylor Hendricks coming off the bench, maybe even possibly eventually stealing John Collins' seat probably next year, but we'll see. Walker Kessler is a fun defensive big, can shoot a little bit. Lauri Markkanen is a little bit more fun at the 4, but is what it is. And then Keontae George is real fun. I also like Ochai. So yeah, I'll see y'all. Peace.